Hey guys, welcome back to DNR TV. The R is over there somewhere. Where is she at? She's over there watching Dora. Alright, something in my eye. What the heck? Bringing you guys a story time today on my experience or how I got catfish or how I almost got catfish. I don't know. Anyway, the point of the story is I got catfish. This was like years ago. This was probably like 2016. 15. Let's get into the story. Back in 2016, I used to get on this app or a website called Badoo, and that's back when I was cute. You know, I had the good before mommy body. I had the little abs going for me and whatever. But yeah, that's when I was cute. My joint was always on like green, so you know. It's a chat site or a dating site. I don't know. I got on there because I was bored and I was lonely and I ain't had no friends when I moved back to Philly from Virginia. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try this app. I know like 2-3 people that was on it before, so I was like, might as well. I just like to swipe because I was there to mostly make friends. So this one person, they went by the name of, I think Danny or something like that. I forgot, but he was really cute. Well, he wasn't super cute. He was cute, but not like, I don't know. He was cute to me, so I was like, okay, whatever. So he swiped right on me first and I ended up swiping right and then we matched. So they messaged first like, hey, I forgot how the messages went exactly, but he messaged me first and I was like, okay. We was messaging for a while and then it was like good vibes, so I'm like, you know what, I think I asked him for his number. And I never make the first move. It was just cool. They didn't like seem like they was all pushy. You know how some people, they try to prove themselves like, oh, I'm this, I'm that, I'm that, I'm that. He didn't do that. So I was like, you know what? You're a cool person. So yeah, we exchanged numbers and then we started texting. And then we're just talking, getting to know each other. And then like he told me he was, what was he, like 26? I think I was 20, I don't know. I go for older guys. I don't know why I do it. I don't know, maybe it's just the way I am. No, I can't date younger because y'all people around my age is immature, and I learned that people older is immature as well. But anyway, that's not the point of this story. We will be talking and then he'll be like telling me how his dad was in the hospital, then send me pictures, and then I'm like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And then he will start telling me about his ex, and then I'm like, okay. He was like, I hate that B word, but I don't curse. So he was like, yeah, I hate her, she trying to come back into my life. I'm like, okay, why is he telling me this? Like, is he trying to push me off a little bit? Like, she cheated on him. And then I was like, oh, that's bad. Like, I was like, you should probably stop talking to her if she's like only causing harm to you. Like, she don't really care about your feelings. She's cheating on you, or she cheated on you. And he was like, yeah, but you know when you just love somebody. I'm like, okay. So this is when I'm like starting to back off. Like, okay, you got baggage, I'm gonna just let you handle that. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna stay friends with you because I don't deal with people that still have feelings for their exes. So I was like, you know what, I'll be cool. We can still be cool, you know. I don't mind being friends still. So we was talking about that. Then he was like, yeah, she left me for some other B. I'm like, oh, she left you for another girl. I'm like, that's crazy. There's nothing wrong with, you know, whoever you decide to be with, you decide to be with. I was like, wait, she left you for another girl? He was like, yeah. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. And then one day he was like, yeah, I think I'm getting a new phone. So I was like, oh, that's what's up. He ended up getting an iPhone because we was texting and then the messages went from green to blue. So I was like, okay, so maybe we could FaceTime now that you got an iPhone. We was texting, so I'm like, okay, what you doing? And then he was like, oh, I just got a new tat. Then he sent me a picture of his new tat. I'm like, oh, that's what's up, that's what's up. And he was like, yeah, you got Instagram? Then I was like, yeah. So he was like, follow me on Instagram. I'm like, okay. I was like, wait, are you gonna follow back? He was like, yeah, I'm gonna follow back, because I don't like that. Like, people will tell you to follow them and then they don't end up following you back. But every time like somebody on that app or asked if I have an Instagram, they would think I'm a catfish because I only had like, at the time I only had like 300 something followers, and then they'll be like, why do you only have 300 followers? Maybe because nobody really liked me in real life, that's why. I don't know, I don't think I'm that pretty in person. It's all in the filter. Anyway, so we talked about Instagram, and he was like, yeah, follow me on Instagram. I'm like, you gonna follow back? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. So I followed him on Instagram, and he didn't follow me back. So I'm like, okay, maybe he's not on right now. And then I was scrolling through the Jones, and then it was him. Scrolling, and then I see the picture of his new tat. I'm like, oh, that's what's up. That's the tat that he just showed me that he got. So I'm like, that's cool. So I'm like, okay. So I texted him like, I followed you. He was like, okay, this is where it starts to get fishy. So I'm like, I followed you. He's like, okay, I'm gonna follow you back, but I accidentally logged out, and I'm trying to log back in, and it's not letting me. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm like, it doesn't really matter. I think a few more days go by, and then I'm like, okay, so we gonna FaceTime yet? He was like, yeah, I'm with my dad in the hospital again, so I'm gonna FaceTime you after I get out. And I'm like, okay, because I knew his dad was in the hospital before, so I'm like, I know he's not lying about that because he sent me a picture and everything. So I'm like, that's cool. Yeah, time goes by, and he still didn't follow me on Instagram. I'm like, oh, you figured out your password yet? I never be beasting for a follow, so I wanted to make sure he wasn't a catfish, because things started to get a little fishy with the whole signing out of Instagram. I'm like, okay, like, that's very convenient. When I ask you if you're gonna follow me back, you say yeah, and then you come up with an excuse. I'm like, okay, well, I might just end up unfollowing you if that's the case. I was like, okay, whatever. This was like a few days later. I forgot around when the time frame happened, but I know this was the summer because I started using that app in the summertime. He was like, I'm gonna call you tonight, and then I'm like, okay, that's cool, because I'm gonna be busy. The night comes, and then I'm waiting for the call. I'm not like beasting, because like I was kind of talking to other people from the app, not talking, but like, you know, it was cool. I was cool with other people from the app. Let me see, I think I got the text messages still. Yeah. Okay, so this is how it happened. So he was supposed to call me, then I was like, okay. I was like, he was gonna call me when he got home. Then I'm like, okay. And then I was like, so he finally got home, and then I was like, okay, good. Then I was like, you could call whenever you're ready. So he was like, all right, but my phone's dying. I'm like, dang, what percent is it on? He said 25. I'm like, okay, cool. Then he said, what you doing? I said, waiting on you to charge your phone. So how about you? He was like, laying in bed relaxing. So if you're laying in bed relaxing, then you probably got your phone charger right next to you if you're texting me. And then so I'm like, all right, so I'm gonna call. So I called them, and then I got no response. So I'm like, okay, like, what is going on? And then he texted me back, and then he said, oh shoot, I didn't know you called. I got you, I was peeing. I'm like, LOLs. Oh, okay. And then he's like, hold on. I'm like, okay. Then he said, I'm gonna call in a minute. I'm like, okay, like, dog, I heard. I wasn't beasting. I really wasn't. It really sounds like I'm beasting, but I wasn't. I was just trying to make sure he wasn't a catfish. So he's like, oh, don't get mad, I'm trying to get off the phone with my cousin, she talked too much. I'm like shaking my head, like, I'm like, what the heck? Like, why all these excuses? Like, and then he's like, I know I told him I'm trying to talk to somebody, but what you doing? I'm like, chilling. And then he was like, okay. So he calls me, finally, he FaceTimes me. I text him like, why are you in the dark? He said, relaxing, watching porno. I'm like, and it says LOL JK. I'm like, I think you bullcrapping now. He said, why you think I'm bullcrapping? Because I'm not FaceTiming you? I'm like, yeah. No, first you was peeing, now you on the phone. And then he was like, but she called me. I'm like, right, okay. They're like, chill, you don't gotta get mad. I'm like, I'm not bad. Like, I'm really not. I'm not pressed at all. That was that night. I'm like, I think I just went to sleep. So next day, I'm like, okay, this person, I don't know, you're starting to seem a little fishy to me. I went to his Instagram profile, and under it, I was looking at his pictures and then his videos, and then I clicked on one video, and then it had his Snapchat like linked to it. It said like, add me on Snapchat, and then it said like Danny something. So I'm like, okay. So I added his Snapchat. I think he was like trying to rap or something, I don't know, but I like seeing how he was like on Snapchat, and he seemed like a completely different person. The way he talked, the way he just like carried himself, don't seem like nobody I would go for. He seemed like the cocky type, like the, oh, I know I'm cute type or whatever. So I'm like, whatever. So I'm like, all right, since I added you, I'm gonna message you. So I messaged him on Snapchat. Okay, I don't know if you know me or not, but are you on Badoo? And then he was like, nah, I'm not. And then I was like, Oh really? I'm like, okay, well, this is where it starts coming together. I'm leaving the Maxim by myself. I don't need a whole team because I can do this by myself or whatever, you know. If you need me to figure out if somebody a catfish, just call me, you know, I got you. So I sent him the profile on Badoo. I'm like, well, somebody's trying to be you or somebody's impersonating you. And then I like sent him the profile picture, and then he started laughing like, yo, that's crazy. Yeah, so this isn't him, so I'm gonna get down to the bottom of this. So he was cool. He seemed like a cool person. Get back to this hoe that's trying to catfish me, that think I'm crazy. Like, how long did you think you was gonna get away with this? I forgot what else we talked about, but I told him about the whole catfish situation. Oh yeah, it turns out this guy was from New York too. He told me on Badoo that he was from Jersey. I forgot what part of Jersey, but I'm like, Jersey's not far, so whatever. Yeah, but this guy was from New York. I forgot, I think like Brooklyn or something. But yeah, so I'm like, all right. I'm like, time to catch who this person is. Time to FaceTime this person tonight. I got my camera ready. I got it on my old laptop. The laptop died and I had the video on there. I'm so mad. So I texted him. I was like, okay, what you doing? And he was like, oh, I'm chilling. And then I'm like, okay. So I waited till like 9 something when we got into the conversation a little more. And I'm like, all right, time to FaceTime you. So I asked him, I was like, you busy? He was like, nah. So I'm like, okay. So I FaceTime him. It's ringing, it's ringing, it's ringing. Somebody finally pick up. It's in the dark again. So I'm like, why you in the dark? And then they're like, what you mean? So I'm like, you gonna show your face? They like, yeah. I'm like, The camera goes up and it's a whole female. A whole female. So the voice I kept hearing before was like a little deep, but like a little higher pitched than a guy. It was a female. She was a stud. I don't know if that's the word. I don't want anybody to get offended. I'm not too educated on the whole whatever, you know, that whole terminology. So you catfished me, or you tried to catfish me, but I caught you. I caught you. You was not that slick. Because I thought it would probably be like a 40-year-old man or some older person or some really big person. If they told me it was a girl from the beginning, like if they made their own profile, I would have still been cool with them. I still would have been their friend, because I was looking for friends. And then we had good conversations. Like, they was a really cool person. So everything just started making sense at that point when he was at first like, oh yeah, my girl left me for some other B. And I'm like, oh, she left you for a girl. Yeah, because your girl was gay the whole time, because you're a female. And I'm like, oh my god, duh. I'm like, man, I could make a catfish show all by myself. Catfish show. I don't got all the equipment and stuff, but I'm a really good detective. If I want to find something out, I will find it out. Call me a stalker, call me what you want. I hung up. Yeah. And then I texted like, sorry, my phone lost connection. I just had to prove my point. They said, what point? Yeah, they was like, what point? I'm like, that you weren't who you said you was. Then now I can say she, right? And then she was like, no, don't get me wrong, Danny is my brother, but he sleep. I'm sorry, I'm sorry to play around with his friends. I'm just his sister playing jokes with his phone. I'm like, you don't gotta keep going with it. Like, first, I'm like, dog, just cut it. Y'all look nothing alike. I know you don't gotta look like your siblings. Me and my siblings don't look alike. But that's like a huge difference. She looked nothing like him. And then I'm like, you don't gotta keep going with it. And then she was like, I'm serious. I put this on my dead best friend. Danny really is my brother. I'm like, dog, you don't gotta put it on nothing. It's cool, I'm not mad. They said, okay. I was just like, why are you trying to keep the lie going? Like, you already know, we already know that you don't even know Danny. Danny's not on Badoo. Danny don't got a sister. I never seen you on his Instagram. I think he posted his Instagram, like his family on there, whatever. But yeah, they texted me the next morning. This happened in April 28th. So they texted me 7 in the morning the next day. I'm like, they was like, good morning. I'm like, sup? Because I'm like, I'm not your friend, don't worry, you lied to me. They said, look, I'm sorry about yesterday. I just want to say it. You don't have to hit me up anymore. It's up to you. But you was a cool person to talk to and understanding. I just hope you find somebody that respects you for you and love you for you. Can never forget that. 100. But I hope we can be friends or whatever. Whatever you do, there's no rush, but I apologize. And that was the last time we ever spoke. And that was my catfish experience. That was such a funny thing. Like, this whole John had me cracking up. I don't know, I wasn't pissed off about it. I was kind of disappointed because he had like a good personality, good conversation, but then the real him, yeah, that was my catfish experience. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a thumbs up if you want. You don't have to. Please leave a comment, tell me if you enjoyed this video or not, because I enjoyed making it. I don't know, I think I might do more story times. I like telling stories. And subscribe. But as I always say, thank you to my loyal viewers who always come and watch my videos. I really appreciate you guys. My little one appreciates you guys too. And thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video. Raina, you want to sign us off? Say bye. Say bye, Raina.